because I really desire to give the most well-rounded and truth-based wisdom to the world and service to the world, I want to make sure that my insecurities and ignorance isn't plaguing the service that I'm having. And inevitably it is right now to a small degree, but it's the least that it ever has. And I'm excited to continue to purify the place through which I serve, get as little of my own stuff get as little of my own stuff detracting from the service that I'm having to people in the world. So, yeah. So that's a long way of saying I'm feeling very patient with my approach to service and the world. And look, I feel really, I've got a deep knowing that I'm going to continue to impact more people, but I also have a bit of a knowing that my service in the world will ramp up to thousands of people and potentially millions, maybe. That definitely feels like it's in the field of what I'm here to do. And so I just don't feel like I'm in a rush. And I feel like to really, truly and deeply impact people, it's going to require some insight that goes beyond my current perspective of life, even though I perceive that I do have some beautiful insight. Now, what has that led me to do? That's led me to be in this interesting dilemma recently where I've been feeling just the desire to deepen my relationship with spirit, deepen my relationship with the unmanifest, with timeless love, and my understanding of God, my understanding of spirit, my understanding of soul and creative potential. And that's led me to be spending a lot more time meditating, 2 to 3 hours a day of meditation and doing a lot of learning. I've been reading a really powerful book recently, and it's a big book, so it's taken me quite a while to get through because I tend to be not necessarily a slow reader, like my eyes can't read, or I don't understand how to spell, or I'm academically impaired. It's because I really like to soak everything in. But I'm reading this book called the Mahabharata, and it's known as one of the biggest epics of all time. And it's sourced originally, cognized by a Veda, or like a man named Vyasa, and Vyasa means the sequencer of knowledge. And there's a legend behind it, and this story was passed down and then written in scripture, and it's transliterated by an author called Ramesh Menon. But this Mahabharata, in this transliterated version I've been reading, is solid 1,500 pages across 2 volumes. That's almost 4 kilos. So when that came in the mail, I was like, what the hell is this delivery? I didn't order anything that's 4 kilos because it said it on the package. And then I opened it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the books I ordered. They're enormous. And these books contain within, let's say it's 200 or 300, between 200 and 300 chapters long. Within this whole book, the Mahabharata, I think 12 of the chapters is the Bhagavad Gita, which is the famous book that's kind of like one of the Indian Bibles, Hindu Bibles, even though it's not strictly religious. It's a novel, it's a story, but there's wisdom contained within it. So that's an example of something that I've been reading and spending my time feeling into the symbology behind the really powerful learnings that have come from pretty close connections to source, pretty high consciousness states that this wisdom was downloaded through in the form of a really engaging novel. So I've been spending a lot of time reading, for example, and I've also been doing a lot of worldly research, a lot of research around things that I previously was kind of living under a rock with. I've been very penciled into seeing, if you've watched the social, what's it called? The Social Dilemma, the Netflix documentary about how social media traps users into staying on it. But one of the big pieces of it being that, maybe this wasn't from the Social Dilemma, but just the idea that when someone engages in something on social media, that it continues to show people more of what they want to see. And so they see and because the average person spends 7 hours on their phone and of screen time a day, they're immersed in a reality that is full of subjective bias, because they're only seeing people that they like that keep telling them the same opinions, versus when people were as a family in front of a TV and one show is played at a time and everyone's just got now we're watching your kind of show and it's more of like a rom-com, and then the next day someone wants to watch an action movie and okay, cool, I got to surrender my preference, and now we're watching the news because dad wants to watch it, but we don't really care about that. But all the different forms of entertainment and different perspectives of the world are all being consumed by everyone that's shared in that experience. Whereas now people are tunnel visioning into the topics that they already are obsessed with. And so they're forming a very subjective view of the world. And that's what I did as well. I wanted to stay in my pocket of spirituality, stay in my pocket of personal development, and was not wanting to be around or understand things like history or politics or worldly concerns or economics. I didn't really care. Or religion. Whereas now I'm very, very interested in studying the world, history, different sciences. And I've been doing a lot of that research and a lot of that learning, and I'm absolutely loving it. And it feels important to me to understand the world if I want to be able to have meaningful perspectives on life. How can I give meaningful perspectives on life if I'm just sharing from a really strong subjective bias and a really tunnel visioned view of the world? So in a nutshell, I'm kind of from one lens, the part of me that really does want to be phenomenal at what I do as a speaker and a teacher is being very proactive and long term and in a really fun learning season. Now, because I'm at the start of June, so in a month, I think pretty much to the day, I will be starting my 3 months of meditation in India. And yeah, I feel that when I get back, there will probably be a bit of a shift into serving with a tool that I can give people that I'm 100% sold on the purity and the power of, which is meditation. So I'll probably be serving more and learning slightly less. But at the moment, and for this year, I've just been learning so much. Learning, reading, chilling, embodying. That's been a lot that's been on my radar and what's been in my awareness. And so I've really been questioning the integrity of how I want to show up in the world. And I've really been slowing the pace at which I've been approaching my career. And I've been considering things a bit more thoroughly and deeply, considering, do I want to be on social media or do I want to serve through other mechanisms? Maybe I want to, instead of just get rid of my social media accounts and just in my description, not even get rid of the accounts, but just say it in the bio, hey, your time's going to be better spent off social media, so get off. Because my social media time is very low and I've got my screen time down very low. And I believe that massively positively impacts my fulfillment level, which I see as the purpose of life. So I've just been playing with what's integrity look like for me. And yeah,